guys, I'm gonna do a quick get ready with me while I'm gonna be as quick as possible. So going out, it's New Year's Eve, so I'm getting ready quickly to go out with my friends. So I'm gonna do a quick makeup look, keeping it natural. Might add a little bit of sparkle, but keeping it casual, not much time. I'm gonna start off doing my brows. I first brush it and I put in the brow powder with the angled brush, like so. I just follow along the brow line, fill it in. I also use the spoolie, so if I get too much product, I just brush it over. And then I use the Touche Eclat concealer just to clean up any areas around it. You know, if you see my other videos, you'll see that I use a Touche Eclat a lot. Now I'm going to use the Rare Beauty concealer just on my eyelids and below the eye. This is really good concealer that I've been using so far, and it's really brightening. So if you've got any dark circles or any shadow around your eye area, it's really, really good. And now I'm going to use I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow Primer. And I just use my fingers to blend it all in. So I always do primer before doing my brows or after, but I tend to do it before my brows. And now I'm going to use I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Flawless Finishing Powder just to lock in the concealer. I'm just using the brush to lock the powder in. And now I'm gonna use a fluffy brush, and I'm using one of the same sort of nude color. I just like to go over twice, make sure the concealer's all fully dry. I'm using the Huda Beauty, the Warm Browns Obsession palette by Huda Beauty. I just like to go over an extra. The next color I'm using is the brown tone color, which is perfect color to over the crease. And then I'm using the Anastasia to use a deeper brown color. You can use that to contour in of the crease line, and use a fluffy brush. Now I'm going to use a Too Faced chocolate palette, and it's got some of the glitter colours. So I'm using the Too Faced chocolate gold palette, and I'm using one of the shimmering colour in Classy and Sassy, and I'm just going over my bottom lid. This is sort of a warm brown. Just use a flat brush, flat eyeshadow brush, and just pat it and blend. You need to layer over a couple times as well if you're putting a lot of glitter. Then I'm going back into my warmer section palette, and I'm using the copper colour. I like that colour a lot because it's quite warm. It's a bit more on the copper side. Next, I am using one of the Cocoa Truffle matte colour and just going over just to darken up the crease line. And I use the same brush. And then I'm going back with the same colour that I used before, the warm brown, just to blend in the colour. And then I'm just going to clean the brush again and use a dark colour, but I'm using one of the medium-sized brushes just to deepen up the crease line a little bit. And then going back in with the Charlotte Tilbury brightening powder just to blend in any edges that are going out, just to smooth it up a bit. And then I'm going to use a black, in the Urban Decay black pencil in the shade Crave. It's a double-ended the Naked Basics pencil, and I'm just using it to line the top lid where the eyeliner goes. So I tend to use that a lot instead of a black liquid eyeliner. Then I'm going back into the Huda Beauty Warm Obsession palette, and I'm using the dark brown shade, and I'm using a smaller brush just to smooth out the black line and smooth it out. Next, I am going to use the brown brush. I'm using the same brush just to go on at the bottom waterline. And then I'm dipping back into the Cocoa Truffle shade, a darker warm colour. Then I'm dipping back into the dark brown shade. And then I'm aligning the waterline with the black pencil. Next up, I'm using the Mascara-Big Mascara by Lancome. This is one of my favorite mascaras because you can use this even on days you don't want lashes and it just stays on all day. And it's got easy brushes that you can use. Next up, I am using the EX1 in the shade number 8 foundation, and this is one of my go-to foundations. It's very affordable. You can get it from Suier. I don't know if they're selling it anymore, but I absolutely love this foundation when I need it, like on the go, and it's not too heavy and it blends really well with my skin and it photographs really well as well. I just add a bit more if I need a bit more coverage, but you can use this like if you want natural makeup as well. This is really good, and it's really good for Asian skin tones as well because the shades match so well. Then I set up my foundation with the YSL powder in the shade 40, and then I'm going to set my face with the Airbrush setting spray. Next, I'm using the Giselle Huda Beauty lashes. These are my regular lashes that I use on a day-to-day basis because it's so natural. And then I'm going to contour with the Reveloution in the shade F16, and this is a quick shade. And then on the nose, I use the Pixie, I think it's called Pixie Pen Nose Contour by Pink Honey. You can get it on TikTok. And then I'm using the Real Techniques Beauty Blender just to go over. Just blend the contour. The more blending you do, the better your makeup sits well and looks more natural. You don't want any streaky contour lines. And I'm using the I'm using the Benefits-Hoola just to set the contour. I like to use different shades, so I'm using the Anastasia brown shades, 2 of the brown shades, and I mix it with the Real Techniques angled brush. This is my go-to contour that I do pretty much every time. I'm using the NYX in the shade Terracotta blusher, and I'm using the blusher brush by Zoeva. I'll list all the tools and stuff on my description anyway. This blusher is perfect warm tone with a bit of like sparkle. I tend to use a lot of shimmer sort of blushes without being too flat on the skin. It gives a bit more. And then I'm going to mix it. I like to mix my blushes with the this is another shade that I used, Hot Mama by the Balm Cosmetics, and I like to mix my blushes, and sometimes I need a bit more colour and I like to mix it up. This gives a bit more like a warm tone, and I started using it on my nose as well just to give it that pop of colour. Yep, and I'm going to use another blusher shade. This is in one of the Milani Cosmetics. And then I'm gonna just go over the contour. Sometimes I feel like I need more. And then just just go over with the pencil line if I need a bit more makeup, and going back in just to fix any areas that I need fixing or need a bit more colour. And then what I do is use the Rare Beauty to highlight now. After I've done the contour, I just highlight the areas. And I just use my fingers because it's quick and I don't have much time. Sometimes I use a blender or mix of both. The foundation brush just to go so it's not looking too harsh. I find using my ring finger a lot easier under the eye because you can get right in between the small areas instead of a brush, and it just warms up the skin and blends really, really well. That's the way I prefer. And then now I'm setting my the highlighted areas with the Airbrush brightening powder. And then I am going back in with the YSL setting powder and just blending everything in. And then setting spray, and then I'm using the Loreal highlighter that I use pretty much all the time. It's a mix between gold and silver. I love my highlighter, so you'll see me putting on more than once with brushes. And I'm using the Real Techniques brush because they are so angled and precise shape. I'm going to use the pointed brush just to put it in the inner corner of my eyes, just to give it that pop of highlight. Next up, I'm using the MAC Cork lip liner, which is a dark shade, and this is perfect for like Asian skin tones because I have a very dark lip line and I need a darker one, or else it doesn't really stand out much on my lips. Next up, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury-Hepburn Honey. It's one of the new shades that I love to use pretty much most of the time, that I put in my center. Then I'm going to use the Too Faced Gingerbread that I have for a while, and this smells like chocolate, almost you could eat. And it's just a warm brown color, and it's a matte shade. This was a limited edition Christmas collection, so I don't know if they have this anymore. Then I'm going to go over with the Hepburn Honey with Charlotte Tilbury just to blend it all in. And last but not least, I'm just filling my brows just to set it with the L'Oreal Plump and Set Brow Artist Volumizing Brow Gel, just to set it all in. Then I'm going to use the Maybeline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara on my bottom lash line. This is, I think it's the waterproof one. No, it's just a normal one because I'm using it because it's a fine brush and it's not too big and it's perfect for the bottom lash line. So I'm using the Tarte-Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Medium Sand. This is just to brighten up my under eye a bit more. I just like that bit of brightness. Then I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush brightening powder just to set the under eye, and then just going over areas that I think I've got too much contour, just to blend it all in pretty much. Setting it all up with the setting spray, and then I'm using the Fenty lip gloss because I just felt like in the mood to. I don't always use lip gloss, but sometimes I do. This lip gloss is so nice. Finish look. Guys, too much. Okay, here is the finished look, guys. It's a quick makeup. Just did a bit of shiny, sparkly, coppery warm tone, kept the lip more darker. I used gingerbread